Hey, what's up, cats and kittens, and shout out to all my Cerebralites. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I'm back. But before we go another further, do yourself a favor, and while you're at it, do me a solid. Take a second to hit that subscribe button, and once you've done that, take another second to hit that tiny little bell, and that way you'll be kept in the loop. Having said all of that, let's dive right in.
Let's just wake up to some motherfucking hot, steamy, pissy smelling tea. Did that motherfucking nigga, Caitlyn Jenner, aka Brucey, yeah, big balls, little dick, him. Look at the motherfucking weedy shorts. This motherfucking nigga, because he's a man, dressing and pretending to be a woman, using vocal cords like, yeah, I really like, bitch, get it together. All that money you got, get a vocal coach. Now I'm finished with your motherfucking ass. How the fuck your stinking ass, nigga? Because you got a dick, nigga. You was born a man, nigga. You gonna down your fucking son on head and say he's stupid instead of saying something encouraging? And you gonna lie and say you don't know Blac Chyna? Nigga, you was walking around switching in the park with me there, you fucking faggot. Call me, bitch. I got some words for you.
When other mothers and fathers were tucking their children into bed at night and reading them bedtime stories and teaching them their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, picture Toni in the backyard in Maryland, D.C., wherever Blac Chyna grew up, with a pole. And she's teaching her daughter pole tricks at an early age. Like, this is like the visual that I get of Toni, because it's unfathomable to me that you can be critical of Caitlyn Jenner's relationship with Rob Kardashian, but not see the errors that you've made as a parent. Like, don't sit in judgment of Caitlyn. Look at the child that you raised. Look at the product of your tutelage. Let's dissect that and pick that apart and look at what you've created. Yeah. So about that video, there's a couple of things that I want to touch on first. Okay, one of the first things I want to say is this, right? When it comes to Toni, some of what she was saying, I actually understood her position and where she was coming from. But the way that she said what she said was completely disrespectful and completely and totally out of line. And most importantly, it was unwarranted. And to me, it seemed like manufactured beef. And I'll tell you why it's manufactured. If you listen to what she said in the video, you notice that she really tries to ingratiate herself to Rob and sort of come to his defense. And that's because she wants those rent payments back. You know, when Rob went on this tweeting diatribe a few weeks ago, he made it a point to mention that I've been paying your mom's rent, your mom's bills. And so we know, based on what Rob was tweeting and Instagramming, that he was definitely contributing financially to Toni's well-being. But that cash cow has left the farm, and she's upset about that. And maybe she needs a scapegoat, and that scapegoat has become Caitlyn Jenner. Now, in one of the I guess you could say these expletive latent diatribes that she went on, she says, well, you have a dick. Well, technically, not so much anymore. Caitlyn talks about in the book that she had sexual reassignment surgery. So if you knew her the way that you claim you knew her, then you'd know that that part is not true. Now, we're not giving Caitlyn the pass either, because I just don't dig her in any way, shape, or form. I just don't like what she stands for. Her politics are bizarre to me. I just can't understand it. So, yeah, I'm not here for Caitlyn. I can't defend the indefensible, and that's Caitlyn Jenner to me. You know, you'd think someone who was going through what she was going through in life would have a greater empathy for those who are marginalized, but unfortunately, there's not a hormone pill for white privilege, and white male privilege in particular. And so she hasn't transitioned from that. You know, well, physically she's transitioned, but in terms of emotions, and that's what I think sometimes some trans women may need to understand. Being a woman is not about putting on hair. Being a woman is not about putting on makeup. Being a woman is in everything you do. It's the way that you treat people. It's the way that you speak. It's the way that you eat. It's the way that you argue. It's the way that, I mean, there's so many different nuances and layers to being a woman that it doesn't, you know, I mean, sexual reassignment surgery, hormone pills, all of the different things that you can take that can, you know, transition you physically, they can't change your aura and your spirit. That has to be innately who you are. And when I look at Caitlyn, sometimes I just don't see that that's innately who she is. Now, I can't necessarily say that that's true, but I'm just giving you my personal opinion. Judge me if you will, but look, I'm just going to give it to you how I say it, because let me tell you something else. I'm no longer going to allow myself to be bullied into blindness. And by that I mean, sometimes in our society, when you have an opinion, and if your opinion is sort of counterculture, then people want to bully you into suppressing your opinion. No, if I see something and I feel a certain way, and I'm talking about it, I'm going to talk about how I feel. And when I see Caitlyn Jenner, I just don't see. I've seen other trans women who I can see, and you can feel the genuity of their womanhood, and that's something that, to me, when I look at Caitlyn, I just don't see or feel. So anyhow, moving on from that. So Tokyo goes on this crazy diatribe talking about how Caitlyn, still has a penis, and how she does know Blac Chyna. Why would Caitlyn being on The View saying that she didn't know Blac Chyna be enough to make this woman go off the way that she went off? To me, when you go off to this degree over something so innocuous, something so minute, to me it looks like you're looking for a beef. Like you're looking for a way to inject yourself into the drama so that people can talk about you. And it's working, because we're talking about her right now. And this is exactly what she wants. She wants to piggyback off the celebrity of her daughter. Because let's be completely frank. Tokyo's best years, her earning years, are over and done. She's, and let me, I'm going to say this too. When I looked at the video, her mouth is ugly, but I actually thought she was actually really pretty. To me, initially, I thought it was Neffy from Frankie and Neffy, Keisha Cole's sister. So at first, I'm like, oh, look at Neffy. But it's, as I watched the video, I was like, oh, okay, now I know who this is. But, I do think she's actually a pretty woman in her own right. But what she says is so ugly and so vitriolic that it's just like it takes away from any beauty that she has, in my personal opinion. Now, as a mother, I feel she has every right to come up and defend her child. That's what a mother should do. You should vociferously defend your daughter's name and her honor. But you should also have educated your daughter. You should have also taught your daughter to keep on her clothes. I know we talked in 2017 about this thing about slut shaming. And if you want to be a slut, be a slut. Can't judge you for that. It's your body, and use it how you choose, how you see fit. But understand that there are consequences to being a slut. And so I don't think that slut is gender specific. You can be a male slut, you can be a female slut. But just understand, when you make those choices, there are consequences for those actions. So if you were so concerned about your daughter's well-being, how can you on one hand be mad at someone who doesn't recall meeting her, but support her dancing as a stripper, support her, using her body as a means of income? If you really stop and strip down the layers of what Blac Chyna does, she's basically a glorified prostitute. That's really the bottom line of what she does. She's sleeping with well-to-do men for personal financial gain. So call it what it is. It's really just essentially it's quasi prostitution in my opinion. And I know some people may disagree with me, and I know some people will agree with me. But at the end of the day, you raise your daughter to be a hoe. And now you're upset about the fact that people are recognizing her for her whorish tendencies. Don't be mad at people. Don't be mad at us. Be mad at yourself for not teaching your daughter better. You had an opportunity to groom her and take her in a direction different from the one that you obviously have gone. But rather than do that, you support her in making poor choices. You support her in having multiple children by multiple different men. And once again, not that there's anything wrong with that. The thing that's wrong with that, when you use the children as pawns for financial gain. Kids are not, paychecks. That's not how you should see a child, as a payday, as an opportunity to advance your station in life. And to me, that's what Blac Chyna was doing when she was getting with Rob. When we saw this relationship with Blac Chyna and Rob, it's like watching. I'm trying to think of another example of a couple where you look. Remember back when Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown were together? You look at that couple and you just say, how did they get together? What's the benefit? Nick Cannon and Mariah Carey. Another example, when you look at a couple, it's just these two people don't match. And when you look at Blac Chyna, even if you watch the show, and I'll only admit to watching the show one time, when you watch the show and you see the way that she treated him on that show, you realize that she's not the victim in any way, shape, or form. This girl It's calculated. She knew what she was doing, and a lot of what she was doing was based on the grooming and teachings and tutelage of Tokyo Toni. And that is my opinion. Like I said before, I'm not here to defend Caitlyn Jenner because, frankly, I'm just not a fan. Just yeah, so I'm gonna move on from that, and I'm not here to defend, excuse me, Tokyo Toni, because frankly I think she's pretty ignorant and doesn't deserve defending either, especially when you know your daughter's fan base is comprised largely of people within the LGBT community. So when you go out and call Caitlyn Jenner all of these transphobic and homophobic slurs, you're essentially cutting off your nose to spite your face, and cashing in the last meal ticket that you had. So anyhow, that's my opinion. I want to hear what your opinion is. In closing, I just want to say, Tokyo Toni, you're not a mom, you're a pimp. You're pimping your daughter, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And that concludes this episode. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, and please share if you feel so inclined. Remember to follow me across all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Also remember, it is better to be pissed off than it is to be pissed on. And it's always, in closing, people, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva. I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day, and as always, thank you for listening.